I have the pleasure and both the privilege of serving as the supervisor to the 3rd Episcopal District. Good morning and welcome to the virtual headquarters of the 3rd Episcopal District. And right now we're on the set of the Pastors and Leaders Summit 2. Thank you so very much for joining us. We're excited about what's in front of us for today. Coming up in just a few minutes will be Elder Robin Ware teaching about the power of a positive team. So we're going to get started, but you know what we always ask you to do is to click, tag, and share. Click, tag, and share, and make sure you invite someone else to join you. Bishop Reid?
What we want to do today is really encourage, equip, and empower you to be a team builder in your family, in your church, and in your community. People wondered when Supervisor and I came to the 3rd District why we call it Team 3rd. And I want to share with you 2 quick principles and reasons to be found in this book, Deliberate Discomfort: How U.S. Special Operations Forces Overcome Fear and Dare to Win by Getting Comfortable Being Uncomfortable. Being a leader for Christ, a servant of Christ, means you have to deal with some discomfort. And principle 1 is that the mission comes first. Number 2 is the team is subordinate to the mission. What is our mission as Christians? Our mission as Christians is whether we eat or drink, whatever we do, do it to the glory of God. Seek ye first the kingdom of God. That's our mission. Our team work comes from the fact that the team is subordinate to the mission. We must decrease so Christ can increase. Here is the thought for the day. We need to always maintain the mission first mindset. Now, this mindset is in conflict with the way the world thinks. The world teaches us to look out after number 1. We are wired for self-preservation, to think it's all about me. I need you to ask, what's in it for the people on my team? As foreign and as uncomfortable as it is to accept, that's it. That's it. Not about ourselves. That's how you keep your priorities straight. It may be counterintuitive, but the more you focus on others, the more comfortable you will be. Because individuals will never accomplish what a team can accomplish. And as I looked at Elder Ware's presentation, it hit me. There are 2 types of teams: a toxic, dysfunctional team and a transformational, triumphant team. And so in a few minutes, right after the presentation of our presenter, you will learn how and be encouraged, equipped, and empowered to build a powerful, positive team.
Well, now get ready. We are pleased to present to you in nothing less than military power, I should say, as Bishop said, that we have to be dedicated and understand that this is a team-minded mission. We called in the best in the kingdom, and she is a transformative leader. Her name resonates throughout the kingdom. Her name is Robin Ware, Coach Robin Ware, also known as Elder Robin Ware. She is the hospitality guru of the kingdom. She is sought after by church leaders as well as industry leaders to teach excellence because she believes and says that excellence matters. We are getting ready to present to you a woman who is a mastermind of taking negatives and turning them into positives. In 2003, she found herself downsized with not any more than a moment's notice, but she turned what was negative and pivoted in a very critical season of her life into a positive season. And now she is a global leader in transformation and church excellence and church hospitality. She's also the author of winning hospitality strategies to change the culture of your church. We're pleased to welcome her this morning, Elder Robin Ware, as she teaches how to reemerge and come back better. It's about the power of a positive team. Get ready to receive Elder Robin Ware.
A transformational team builder. Elder Ware.
All right. Here we go. Yes. I am so excited. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. I am so excited as Bishop and Supervisor, which I wanted my picture with both of you. Come here real quick. We got to make sure we get everybody in the shot on camera. We got our wristbands on.
Yes.
That's right. Here we go. Yes. Look, we're like superpowers, right? We have our wristbands. We'll talk about this as part of the presentation. Thank you so much for the opportunity to come and to share. As Bishop shared, I'm Elder Robin Ware, and I like to say that I am a forever church girl. I was born and raised in the AME church. I know my mother is watching, and she is so godly proud that I am working with the 3rd District, and I'm a part of the Pastors and Leaders Summit. So I want to say thank you to Bishop and to Supervisor for this opportunity. Now, today's session is the power of a positive team. You know, though I own my own agency, I still am a volunteer at my church. I am still a submitted leader to the leadership at my church. In fact, here's a picture of me during COVID working at my church. As you can see, the place is empty, but you see me in that circle there running one of our iPhone so that we can stream on Instagram. So I am a submitted leader at my church. Talking about the power of a positive team, I'm going to give you a little bit about my story and how I now can proudly say I'm part of a positive team. Last night, though, let me just go back there. If you watched last night and if you missed it, I encourage you to go and watch it. But Reverend Dr. E. Dewey Smith, he blessed us with church in the meanwhile. His 3rd point was that we should remain focused on the goal, singular in vision, and stand united. I think that's one of the best definitions of a positive team. Why does that matter? Because we have to understand that positivity, it is more than a state of mind. Positivity is more than a state of mind. It's a power that gives a team competitive advantage. Excuse me. It gives the team a competitive advantage, whether you're a team in business, in church, in sports, just in life. So I'm not here today to stress the importance of building a positive team because it's fun and teams are enjoyable, but positive teams are more engaged and more likely to overcome forces greater than them and make a greater impact. Talking about forces, we know John 10:10 teaches us that the enemy comes to steal, kill, and destroy. So yes, those forces exist in our teams, even in church. It is important that we understand the enemy is not excited that we're trying to be a positive team. It is challenging to work towards the vision. It is challenging to launch new ideas. It is challenging to pursue greatness. But I want you to write this down. It is not impossible. Yes, but it is not impossible. So these forces require teams to have real optimism, that we confront the reality of challenging situations. And listen, we're going to talk about this, even challenging people. Yeah, some of us, the enemy doesn't even have to bother because we just bring it ourselves, the negativity. So we're going to deal with that as well. But we're all going to work together to overcome them. Why does this matter? Because pessimistic teams don't become legendary. Let me say that again. Pessimistic teams don't become legendary. Negative teams talk about and create problems, but they never solve them. As a church consultant, I travel all across the world, but as I said, I'm committed to my church. My pastor, Bishop Paul S. Morton, he taught me this and I've never forgotten it. He says the future belongs to those who are open to positive change. The future belongs to those who are open to positive change. That's why we as leaders and pastors, we can't just say, go get the job done. Get your team together and just make it happen. Because you know, what's the benefit of achieving a goal, accomplishing something, but at the end of the day, the team is a wreck. There are dead bodies all over the place because the spirit that led that team was guided by a negative force. That's why churches, in fact, have trouble growing. We're always talking about church growth tips. Listen, we have to figure out how to focus on those we've got. Wow. How we can sharpen them and transform them so that they don't go open the back door for themselves. Amen? So, 65% of churches were on the decline before the pandemic. Can you imagine what that statistic is now? I'm telling you, what I'm teaching you today is going to help you transform your ministry. So how do you create a positive team? As we know, positive teams don't just happen by accident. No, they in fact happen when team members invest their time, their energy to create a positive culture. They work towards a shared vision with a greater purpose. Leave that slide up for me. How do you create a positive team? It happens when team members invest their time and energy to create a positive culture. Bishop started this session off with saying that it's not about the team, it's about the vision. We have to work towards a shared vision which has a greater purpose. So, number one, it begins with having a great culture at your church. As a consultant, when I walk in the door and I start meeting with your leaders, I can almost immediately pick up and tell you what the culture of your church is. Now, my book, and I had it here, let me get a copy of my book. It's called Wow Your Guests. Thank you so much. Wow Your Guests, Winning Strategies to Change the Culture of Your Church. See, I put the word culture in the title for a reason. It is imperative that we understand that the importance of hospitality, great customer service, it doesn't just reside with the hospitality team. It resides with all of your ministry teams. In fact, I teach in my book that there are 9 ministry teams that are responsible for creating first impressions. I'm telling you, I wrote this book. I'm so excited. It was 6 months before the pandemic, and I sold 1,000 copies in a little over 3 months, as I like to say, out of the trunk of my car. See, I'm that testimony. You don't have to have a big platform. You don't have to have a publisher, right, to get the word out. When God gives you an assignment, all you have to do is walk it out, and he does the rest. So I teach that hospitality is the responsibility of ushers, of greeters, of parking lot workers, of finance, reception, administration, maintenance, culinary, media, and marketing. And I give the strategies all in this book. Why? Because culture drives expectations and beliefs. Culture drives expectations and beliefs. I can tell you, you can say all day that you're a ministry of excellence, but I can walk in and tell you if that's your culture simply just by observing. So see, your most important job as a team is to create a positive culture that energizes, write that down, energizes and encourages and empowers and enables your team to not only learn, but to grow. To learn and to grow. And then as we talk about a shared vision, as Bishop shared, it has to be a shared vision. The one vision is shared by all. We all know that if a vision is split or there are multiple variations of it, that's called division. And anything with two heads is a monster. All right, look, I tell you, I know I'm supposed to teach. I'm preaching a little bit. That's just the elder in me. Not trying to do that. Let me reel it back in so Bishop doesn't have to come on this stage here and say, all right, elder. But listen, so the next point. So we already said that, of course, it's important. It starts with culture. Number 2 is you think like a rookie. Encourage your team to think like rookies. See, most churches are cursed by experience. Oh, I said it. Most of our churches are cursed by experience. Too many teams are infected by the way we used to do things, the good old days. They complain about what was, and they're not looking forward to what is. They've allowed their past, whether good or bad, to affect their present and future. See, at my church, when the pandemic hit, we were already online, but yet, like you, we still had to pivot so that we could position ourselves to treat our online audience as a campus versus just a window to look in and see what's going on the inside. That's what I've been helping ministries with these last 15 months. You want to make your virtual audience feel like a campus and not just someone veering in through the windows. In my book, in fact, I talk about, in my book, The Ultimate Facebook Manual for Churches, I walk you through some of those steps: creating a pre-show, using lower thirds, adding transition slides, having an iCampus pastor. That's team. We came together and said, here's what's needed. The shared vision is we're taking this to the next level. Not, well, why do we have to do it this way? Is it really necessary? We're already streaming. No, if we're a ministry of excellence, we respond to the time. We don't get stuck in what was. Number 3, you have to choose faith over fear. Ultimately, being a positive team is all about working in a world filled with cynicism, negativity, and fear. Our ultimate battle is that we, people of God, have to be not only people that say we are of faith, but we speak that we are of faith. Ask your team, choose ye this day, who will you serve? Is it faith or is it fear? If they believe their best days are behind them, then that's their truth. But if you're like me, you believe your best days are ahead of you, and that's my truth. Listen, what you believe matters. As a part of your leadership sessions, I challenge you to have developmental moments where you ask your leaders these questions. This is how you change your culture. This is how you infect people with change. Use this scripture, Mark 11:23-24. I use it regularly. It says, truly I tell you, if anyone says to this mountain, go throw yourself into the sea, and does not doubt in their heart, but believes what they say will happen, it will be done for them. Therefore, I tell you, whatever you ask for in prayer. See, we got to have a prayer life, people. Whatever you ask for in prayer, believe that you have received it, and it will be yours. You shall have whatsoever you say. So don't tell me that you're a team of faith when everything you speak is fear. Listen, you got to listen more and talk less. That's how you can see if your team is ready to be positive. So the process to do that, and I'm going to wrap up in about 10 minutes. The first step is transformation. That's what Jesus did. We're always out here running around wanting to get folks saved, and that is important. But we're supposed to make disciples. We're not supposed to be worried about how many members we have and who's got more members over here. No, it's about transformation. So even we as leaders in building a positive team, transformation is the goal. You have to confront the negativity. If your culture houses any type of negativity, you have to confront it. You can't fix what you won't face. I heard Bishop say that. I kept it, Bishop. You cannot fix what you will not face. So I have this full teaching on mastering other people's personalities, mastering OPP. I'm just going to go through 2 of them. There are 12. See, I was taught by the best. You give time back. That's what I was taught. When you go somewhere and speak, you give time back. So I'm working ahead, Bishop, but it's going to be good. I promise you it's going to be good. So mastering OPP, other people's personalities. This is the opportunity that we as leaders have. We are thrown into a group, a team with people we weren't raised with, we're not related to, but we're told we got to work with. And so it's important that we own the vision. It's a shared vision, and that we're committed to do what it takes so that we can build positive, healthy teams. So in that transformation process, what do you do when you have someone that speaks death over what you're trying to do? So here's our first example. You're in a meeting and someone says, well, that's not how that works here at this church. You guys are headed for destruction. Listen, we've been doing this way for 10 plus years. This is my family's church. Your changes are going to ruin everything, and I'm going to tell. That spirit is called the bulldozer. Type that in the comments for me. I see you guys online. I appreciate you so much tuning in so early this morning to the Pastors and Leaders Summit. That spirit is called the bulldozer. They have a know-it-all spirit. They will take over your meetings, and they often use threats, sarcasm, and intimidation. Oh, but I got something for you. This is why Bishop brought me. See, I'm talking about transformation. Here's the solution to deal with the bulldozer. We're not going to embarrass anybody. That's not what Jesus would do. He would help somebody. So that's what we're going to do. Prepare yourself to ask questions to steer the conversation towards solutions. Prepare yourself. Listen, leaders, you have to have an agenda. You have to have a script of what you're focused on, because you know the team that you're working with. So you have to be prepared before the meeting, not in the meeting. So ask questions to steer the conversations towards solutions. We already know anyone that is part of the problem that doesn't offer a solution, they still are part of the problem. So do not confront them. Instead, be intentional in guiding them and focus on answers. Don't get caught up in their negativity. Don't get caught up in their questions. I even say help them in rephrasing their questions to help produce the results that are healthy, not the results that will create parking lot conversations. And y'all know what I'm talking about, because I've been part of church a long time, so I know how this goes. And then to transition, to keep it healthy, thank the team, all of them, but particularly that bulldozer, for their experience. Listen, I respect you've been a part of this ministry for 10 years. We've heard you, and we will definitely take your thoughts, your contributions in consideration moving forward. Now, it's important that we are open to creative solutions. So just as you brought this to light, is there a solution you'd like to add? And if they say no, then you say, is there anyone else that would like to share? All right, so keep that in mind. Here we go. Number 2. Let's say you're in a meeting and you have someone that has another spirit that says, this is stupid. I mean, they're really negative. Anyone with half a brain would know this is dumb. I know you're saying this doesn't happen in church, Elder Ware. Yes, it does. Yes, it does. What if it even goes so far as to say, well, we could take this outside? Oh, yeah. Yeah, we've heard of church fights. We've heard of parking lot meetings. Absolutely. That's the bully spirit. And a lot of times, again, because I love people, we all come from different backgrounds. We all are products of our environments. So a lot of us don't even understand that this is what's in us that's coming out. Because this, some of us would see as dysfunction, is normal for them. Because that's how their family communicates. But that doesn't mean that they can't be transformed. So the bully, the second personality is the bully. They can be loud and hostile, particularly when they feel like they're not getting their way. They may even become abusive and may try to overwhelm those in the meeting. Listen, no one should feel threatened in ministry. It is our responsibility as healthy leaders to help people become the version of themselves that we know is possible. So you have to let them run down. Just look at them and then ask them, are you finished? As long as everything's safe, then you can say, are you finished? Get their attention by challenging them nicely. Listen, can we get you some water? You said a lot. I know you may need to take a breath. Add a little light to it. That's right, Bishop. That's good. Yeah, add a little light to it. Absolutely. And then don't allow them to interrupt you. You say, wait. I listen to you. So now you listen to me. All right? And if they will not conform, you got to help them be ye transformed, right? Ask them to leave. It's okay. Listen, I think that we can handle this in a separate meeting. It's okay. But don't let them destroy your team because you don't want to deal with conflict. That's what happens in ministry. We got to remember that we're hope dealers. People come to be transformed. And so it's not always going to be praise and worship and blah, 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 blah. No. Sometimes it's going to be, you go have a seat. And let me help you learn how to pray and hear from God for yourself. You got to do some introspection so that you can be a blessing, an asset to this team. All right? Because, we know this, none of this is scriptural, but it's true. One monkey don't stop no show. All right? One monkey don't stop no show. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some questions. Let me look in the comments and see what you guys are saying. I appreciate it. You guys have been awesome for tuning in this morning. I'm going to share a couple more things about this teaching and my books, but I wanted to make sure I shared. Yeah, we are hope dealers. Good stuff. Thank you so much. St. Mark AME, thank you for being on this morning. I see you. Presiding Elder McCants, thank you so much for tuning in. This is good stuff. Yes, we have to make sure that we are doing what's necessary to transform our leaders. The power of a positive team. You want your church to grow? Introduce positivity. See, a lot of us think it's beautiful campuses. It's that we've got the latest LED wall screens. Absolutely not. I know plenty of people that are part of small churches. It's because of the positivity, the love, the connection, the relationship. See, we have to remember, and I teach this in my book as well as a part of culture. It is so important that we understand that relationship begins in the heart, not in the hand. So before you start your teams by giving them tasks and putting them in positions, you have to connect with them through the heart. So all of your leadership meetings, the first 15 minutes should be focused on developmental trainings, how to get to know each other, how to talk to one another, how to deal with difficult situations. All right. So if you've got questions, put those in the comments. Let's keep going. I got a couple more slides, Brian. Put those up for me. and we will wrap this up. You, of course, can connect with me. I am online Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays, 11 a.m. at Robin and Ware on Facebook and YouTube. And then the next slide, Brian, I would love, love, love for you guys to even connect with me and find out about opportunities and products that I have. You simply text my last name, which is Ware, to the number 22828. All right. And then another slide. Here we go. When you opt in, when you go through those prompts, texting my last name, Ware, to the number 22828, you will get an email. Once you opt in, you just have to put in your email address, follow the prompts. You'll get this offer for 7 of my books for $97. Keep going, Brian. And it's also going to give you the opportunity to learn about these wristbands that Bishop and Supervisor and I have on. These are social distancing wristbands. Listen, I'm talking about how we can be positive. We want people to re-enter church. We got to let them know that we're thinking about their safety. And so these wristbands communicate your level of comfortability with how you want to be embraced. So red says, I'm practicing social distancing 6 feet away. The yellow ones say, elbows only. That's, I'm comfortable dapping you or doing an elbow. And then the green ones say, I'm good with high fives or hugs. So you can get those as well on my website or by calling the information, the number on the screen. And then I think we got one last slide, Brian. All right, that's it. So Bishop and Supervisor will come on back up, and we will, as I said, turn this over. I gave you 10 minutes back. It's 10:34. If you have any questions, go ahead and put those in the comments.
You don't want to answer the question?
I will. Let's see. Yep, you can come on up. Good. Deborah says this is a great idea. Good stuff. Yes. So as we continue, I'm reading the comments here. Bishop, I'm telling you, one of the reasons you wanted me to do this session was to help people to understand the opportunity in growing. It's not based on, again, like I said, having a beautiful campus. It's about having a healthy team. A team that's positive, that has a shared vision.
That's correct.
That's bought into the vision. So as you're talking about re-entry and reopening as the Bishop of the 3rd District, you can even share, I know we got some other sessions coming up, but you can share as well your thoughts about creating a culture of positivity.
And while we're waiting for some questions, we do have a little bit of time. But as I listened to Elder Ware, the Lord gave me a vision. We're going back in our churches, into our churches on the first Sunday in June. There'll be a seminar on that, a Zoom seminar later in the day. But she has inspired me with her teaching today to move forward and start teaching on the Saturday before the first Sunday. Even though that's the 4th of July weekend, I'm going to start coming on Mondays after the General Conference 3 times a week. And I'm going to start by teaching what she taught today, but in my own words. Love the people. Love your team.
Yes.
Learn your team. Listen to your team. Then your team will give you leadership. And once they give you leadership, then the Holy Spirit will liberate your vision. And then the people will not only write the vision, they'll run with the vision. Any questions for you yet, Elder Ware?
I'm often asked, well, how do you get team members to want to connect, to want to be a part of, relationships? Because we always tell people, you don't have to go home with each other, right? You don't have to, work that hard trying to connect. But listen, we are kingdom representatives.
Absolutely.
God is love. And if we can't show love to those that we serve with, what is the purpose? And so it is our assignment. That may be your kingdom assignment with that team as it relates to transformation, is teaching them how to love. We're re-emerging, as this theme says. We're coming back better. And that's what we have to keep focused on. So don't give up. Despise not the days of small beginnings. You may be the only one that's excited about your little developmental 10 minutes in your ministry meetings, but it will grow. It will grow, and then people will begin to say, you know what? You know how people are. It may take them a month. They'll come back to you and say, you have no idea how that impacted me, even on my job. Even my family is saying that I'm a better person.
Sure.
Because that should be the results. If your tree does not have fruit that produces who you say you are, it's dead.
Right.
So, Elder Robin, tell us about your concept of the bulldozer, because it sounds to me like a Christian bulldozer is a broken person.
Yes.
And hurt people hurt people.
Yes.
So how do we transform the bulldozer, church leader, church pastor, church member into a bulldozer who tears down Satan's kingdom instead of tearing down God's kingdom vision for that local congregation, community, and family?
You know, it really begins with introspection. We have to be honest with ourselves. I was sharing with Supervisor earlier, you know, I'm a very passionate person as it relates to ministry excellence. I love God. I love the church. This is what I was born and created to do. But there was a time when I was first growing. I have worked in ministry, Supervisor, literally at 10 years old. I was the AME junior Sunday school superintendent. Oh, wow. Yes, right. I go back that far, right? But I worked at New Birth, and it was the largest church at the time, 25,000 members. And I had to put together an events volunteer team. So we had about 800 people. And I know you're saying, oh my God, you know, large churches have large people, not large groups. Not really. It's all, you know, if you've got a church of 100 people, then your volunteer base may be 20 people. It's still relative. And you still have the same opportunities, same problems, same challenges. So when you got that bulldozer, when I was building that ministry team, I had to help them see themselves. I'm telling you, if you're doing events or you're doing trainings and your team members don't want to work with you the next year, something's wrong. Something's wrong. Coaching and counseling are healthy in church. Coaching and counseling. So when we allow opportunities like that to pass us by, we've done more harm, Bishop and Supervisor, than good.
Now, go ahead. You have a question?
Yes, there's one in here. I see from Dr. Felicia, how do you respond to an unruly person who is in authority for fear of retaliation? That is so powerful. Yes. Bring the questions.
That is a good one. That is a good one. You know, we always have to be in prayer for our leaders, right? We're all works in progress. And so that's why it's so important to have your intercessory prayer ministry assign people to specifically pray for your leaders. And as you pray, God will give you opportunities as to when it's appropriate to speak to that leader and how to handle that leader. We, of course, are leaders that are under submission. So you can't just walk up to the pastor and say, I didn't like that. Don't do that. That's not healthy. All right. So be prayerful. Allow God to lead you. If God leads you to have, now in my church, we have a hierarchy in place. So we have a protocol system of you go to the director of ministries if you have a concern. Then that director of ministries will vet your concern to make sure it's legit and to see how it can be addressed or solved. Because again, you can't just step over all those layers because you're upset and mad and you want the pastor to hear you out. So we have these layers in place to, and this is the other thing. Sometimes people don't want to go through those layers. Well, then it's not that important to them. These are the processes that the man or woman of God put in place to keep us healthy. All right. So you should see change, and that trust that director of ministries or, you know, whatever you call that person, they've been given, the pastor's going to hear from them because they've been given that level of authority. So that would be my advice, is to put a system in place so that the leaders can feel that they can be heard, and then the leadership can trust that there's a process in place to make it fair for them as well.
Supervisor Marlaa, before you go on to the next question, for those of you all who are trying to figure out in the AME protocol and hierarchy who the director of ministry would be, it should be the vice chair of the steward board, because and that would change how you select or appoint the vice chair of the steward board. The trustee chairman would be the one who would receive the complaints, let's say, or the suggestions for the properties of the church. Before Supervisor goes on to the next question from Lynn Phelps, would you give again the name of your book on dealing with difficult people?
Oh, it's actually a class.
A class.
And it's called Mastering OPP, Other People's Personalities. Bishop, one thing I found that as leaders, oftentimes we'll say we don't like someone, but we can't say why. They haven't done anything to us. And in actuality, it's because we don't understand their personality.
Yeah.
It's like speaking to someone that speaks a foreign language. You can't communicate because you're not speaking the same language.
Absolutely.
So I'm helping you understand the different personalities. And as I shared, there are 12. And then there's also another side of spiritual temperaments that I teach. So anyway, I would love to share that. You know, you can reach out to me through my respective networks, and
We'll have you come on and do a class.
Absolutely, because it's so important.
Yeah.
I want to thank the viewing audience for engaging with us, because this is so powerful and important. This is why we're here. Lynn Phelps asked the question, what was the fourth E? To empower a team. Enable. Enable is the answer to your question, Sister Lynn. Thank you. So people are really engaging. And I really want to go back to what you said is, and I think it's the dividing line between transformational and transactional relationships.
That's right.
And it goes back to what Reverend Dr. E. Dewey Smith preached last night. You have to represent the gospel well. See, the way we show up and the way we respond really influences and impacts the way other people respond to us. And so that represent how we represent ourselves and how we represent the gospel.
And as she gets ready to answer that question, will you all remember that the last conference we had dealt with the emotionally healthy leader and the emotionally healthy church? And last night, Dr. E. Dewey Smith talked about how the book of Philippians is the book of mental health for 21st century Christians. And so, sis, you go on and, you got another
Somebody,
question?
less breath says, what if the person has a problem with protocol? With like the vice chair of the steward board.
Go ahead.
Well, we have to trust our leaders. And so either we believe they hear from God or we believe they don't. And so if that person has been put in place, we have to trust the process. Questioning the process, questioning the person every step of the way isn't healthy. See, a lot of times we put ourselves in position, and it prevents God from doing the developmental things he wants to do. Sometimes, trusting God can require you to be uncomfortable, and you have to become comfortable being uncomfortable.
And one of the things that Dietrich Bonhoeffer, who died in a German prison, he wrote a book entitled Life Together, which was about how he put together the seminary. And what he said in different words, but the same principle as Dr. Ware, is that when we as Christians are together, we have to remember that the enemy is in our midst.
That's good.
That we're daily living in spiritual warfare. And what Sis has taught us today, as Supervisor goes to the next question, is she has taught us that we are dealing with spiritual warfare in this season in our churches and in our lives. And it will take the power of a positive family team, church team. And in answer to the question, if the vice chair of the steward board is in charge of ministries and they are a problem, remember the vice chair is a temporary for the time position. It is not a forever position. And so if you're having challenges, then you can give oversight of that ministry to another steward or another person who would assist the steward board. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
Good stuff.
Absolutely. We've got some powerful responses and engagement in the thread. And so we want to certainly thank you. We hear you. Brother Andrew Coleman said that this would be powerful for the YPD to have a workshop on. So as we transition, we want to encourage you to really execute what you've heard, to identify what you're dealing with, and to deal with what we're really talking about is understanding conflict resolution. And I think when we talk about the violence that's showing up in our community, it's the inability to deal effectively and positively with conflict resolution. And so we're reemerging, we're coming back better, and we certainly want to thank Elder Ware for this powerful and such a relevant opportunity to engage about how to build the power of a positive team.
I've got one more question. I rise to a moment of personal privilege.
Okay.
Thank your privilege.
Look, I'm trying to put my meeting planner hat back on, but he's taking over. So, okay, yes, sir.
And that is, Supervisor just talked about conflict resolution.
Uh-huh.
You cannot resolve conflict if you're afraid of confrontation.
Wow.
That's right.
Confrontation is Christian. It's how you do the confrontation. Could you help us with that as we let you move back to
Absolutely, absolutely right. Listen, he's right. Conflict resolution, you have to be comfortable with confrontation. But again, there's a way to do it.
Yes.
And you cannot confront someone you do not have relationship with.
Ooh, wow.
That's a whole
Wow,
nother
relationship is so very important.
Yes.
So very important.
Yes. That's why for those of you that say, oh, they just want attention, they may. So we as leaders, we have to take the time to build relationships with all different types of personalities so that when it comes time to deal with conflict, they trust us because they know we're coming from our heart and we're not just coming at them and we don't know anything about their situation. We don't know what people are dealing with at home.
That's right.
We don't know what they're dealing with on their jobs.
Absolutely.
We don't know even what they're dealing with in their faith.
Absolutely.
Because we know people that have come from different faith cultures that are total opposite of what we believe, right?
Absolutely.
And so you have to take the time to invest. As I said when I started the presentation, we have to invest in the shared vision, and that is to build people, right? We're to make disciples. The Great Commission tells us that we are to make disciples, not members. Don't worry about people. Well, they're not a member of the church. No, we need to make them disciples for Christ.
Wow.
There are three questions, and we've got to move on. But what we will ask Reverend Gregory Thomas and Jamila O'Neill, what we will ask our sister to do is to go on chat, save the chat, and answer these three questions.
Sure.
And we will put them online on our Facebook page. One is, how do you grapple with the rebellious person? Then the second one is, in addition, what do you do if that rebellious person is a leader? That's from Twanya Premier Smith. If I mispronounce your name, forgive me. And then, can you work with a person that cannot read well or spell that well, but they want to learn more about the Lord? The people have patience to work with that person. And so we'll make sure that these questions get answered and you get them directly. We're about to move into our 11:03 sessions. Our supervisor will tell you how there's faith and finance with Mr. Marcus Henderson, ministry to the millennials with Sean Lewis, private session for presiding elders. Those of you that have a presiding elder, that are pastors and leaders in your church, you can encourage presiding elders from other districts to join in with presiding elder Reverend Dr. Mayberry. And at 12:03, we will move directly into the hour of power with Dr. Elaine Flake. 1:03, we'll have a lunch break. Invite Lottie Dottie and everybody to tune in at 12:03. and then we'll be back at 3:03. So she's going to tell you about the registration.
Okay, so we're moving forward. Thank God for the messenger, the one who came to empower us with that critical information, Elder Robin Ware. Now, what you can do, we will give you more information about how you can contact her, and we are mindful of the questions that you have asked. That's why we've gathered here, is to help you to reemerge and to come back better and stronger than ever. So get ready. Bishop Reid has given you the schedule. You're asking me now, how do we get into the webinars? Because this is the next level of engagement, the next level to prepare you to reemerge. So you're going to look into the comments, and the link is in the comments, and based upon which webinar, yes, all of the links for all three of the webinars, clergy taxes, ministry to millennials with faith and finance for with Mr. Marcus Henderson, as well as ministry to millennials with and Generation Z, Mr. Sean Lewis, and then the private session for the presiding elders. That link those links are in the chat. Those links are in the chat. So go into the chat right now, and you can gain access to get directly into the seminar, to the webinars, and they begin at 11:03. I want to take this opportunity to remind you to click, tag, and share this powerful information. And a point of clarity, Bishop, you said we were going back to church the 1st of June. I think you meant another month.
First Sunday in July.
Right, okay. So it's the first Sunday in July. The first Sunday in July. And so that is.
I just said June because it's my birthday.
Yes, yeah, we'll be celebrating with you. So the first Sunday in July is what we are preparing for, getting you ready to reemerge and come back better than ever. I'm so happy about this afternoon as well, because we will be presenting some of our own very powerful, engaged, and knowledgeable clinicians, our own presiding elder, Melanie Valentine, Dr. Tony Johnson-Liggins, who is a psychiatrist, and the medical director of the 3rd Episcopal District, and Reverend Micah Sims. And so we will be talking about mental health, how we reemerge, how we come back into our churches to protect ourselves, our families, and our communities and our church, how we reemerge from this COVID environment, this post-COVID environment. So get ready, there's more to come. So go ahead and click, tag, and share. And I think we're getting ready to give you just a few minutes to transition. Don't forget, go into the links, go into the chats right now and click the link, whichever webinar you wish to attend. I do want to take this opportunity to once again thank our 3rd Episcopal District family for your support. Thank you. That's why we're working as a powerful team. You want to join me on the site?
No.
You can join me. You really can, because we're a positive team. Bishop is over here coaching me on the side.
I don't want you to confront me. I'm doing conflict resolution.
Okay, all right. He says he's doing conflict resolution over here on the side. Okay, so did you see how easy I did that? I just turned to him. I confronted him. I wasn't mean. I wasn't nasty. I just said, would you like to join me on set? So I'm executing what Elder Robin Ware taught us today about, being positive, keep it positive. Okay, so, and see what you get. This is how it happens. You be nice about it. So get ready. Thank you so very much for tuning in. Get ready to join us again. I was thanking the 3rd Episcopal District for your support. Stay tuned, stay connected. Also want to thank the Recover All Prayer Ministry. I pray that you tuned in, that you called in for prayer this morning. We are on the prayer line, praying and interceding every morning, 7 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. We'll post that information for you so that you can call in. It is an extension of our ministry to the body of Christ, as well as all of the candidates who have sent in their information and their messages. We want to say thank you. We're going to roll it for you so that you can see all of the candidates who are running. Mr. Marcus. Mr. Marcus Henderson is a candidate, and he's also one of our clinicians and presenters on faith and finances, as well as our very own Dr. Frederick Wright, who is a candidate for Episcopal service, and Sister Ametta Reeves, who is a candidate for the Connectional Lay Organization, the president of the CLO. So we're excited, and we're heading towards the General Conference, the 51st session of the General Conference, quickly. So be prepared, stay tuned. In just a few minutes, I think we're going to take just a momentary break, but right before.
They started 10:03.
11:03. Right. Okay. So get ready. Go right now and click the link for the webinar that you want to go to, and then we're going to see you back here on the set in the studio, the Pastor and Leader Summit. The schedule is right there on your screen. We'll see you in just a few moments. Please join us in your respective webinars. God bless you. Thank you for tuning in.